Okay, guys, so at this point, you know what the Google Stadia is. I'm assuming that you do. If you don't, that's fine. Brief recap. Google Stadia is terrible, and it's going to destroy gaming as a whole. No, Google Stadia, I don't know, maybe. Physical gaming, maybe. Google Stadia is a cloud streaming video game service that we were, interestingly enough, we talked about, I think last episode or the episode before that. I was saying, oh, what's going on with this controller? And Spawnwave Media had talked about like Google potentially releasing a game console. People were like, I don't know about that. And so it seems as if that is the case, quote unquote, but it is a streaming video game service. So yes, video games will be on the platform, of course, but what's interesting is there isn't an actual quote unquote platform necessarily. Now, what do I mean by saying that? So it's, yes, there could be, I'm not saying that there can't be some type of streaming box. I don't believe they said there wasn't going to be a streaming box necessarily, but you can play these games throughout a variety, in a variety of different ways. So you can do them, let's say, on your smartphone or on your TV, or I assume through your computer as well. So there is no pricing model though, and that's a bit of an issue. Is that gamers, I remember at the time, were saying, hey, could we maybe like know what we're putting money into before just saying like this thing, toodles? But that kind of feels like what they did, toodles and all. So in this case, however, the reason why I'm talking about this isn't just to, poorly recap, but what you probably already know. It was actually to talk about a recent interview that was talking about not so much the price, because again, that's not being shared as of yet, but discussing a few other things. So not just which by the way, the pricing model has already been decided. Again, we're just not privy to it, which is like, can you just tell me though? I would like to know if I'm going to pay for this. Are we gonna do it or not? So that's the one thing. But the other thing as well is that apparently Harrison confirmed that the Stadia would not support offline downloads, which I think that's a big mistake, and I'll get to that reason why a little bit later. And when asked if Google, this is according to the article by GameSpot, when asked if Google would consider adding the option down the line, Harrison said it was quote unquote not technically possible. He further clarified that adding offline downloads to Stadia would be a compromise of our vision. Look, I know you're an artist, man. I'm an artist. I get it. I don't want my vision compromised, but like, just come on, man. You're gonna use that type of language, really? I don't want my vision to be... I mean, all right, I guess. Okay, yeah, I guess so. By the way, Harrison, of course, I should mention who Harrison is. Harrison is the Google VP. This is Google VP Phil Harrison, the Google Vice President. Here's the thing, right? So when it comes to not supporting offline downloads, I just think that, look, I'm not saying that we're never going to be quote unquote there, where, in a world where streaming video games is as easy as, for some, streaming Netflix is right now, or watching a video on YouTube. The problem is, even putting data caps aside, even doing that, there are still people in parts of the US who have such poor infrastructure, and this is in 2019 right now. I know these people, not going to call them out because they haven't really appeared on the show, so I don't want to point them out by name, but there are people right now that I know in different parts of the US who they live in a town where the median age is over 50. So that means that there are so many people that are in their 70s or 50s and higher that they're actually they are pulling the age up compared to someone like my friend who is in their 20s. Now, this is relevant because they live in such a small town that even though they like video games, even though they like watching stuff on YouTube, their infrastructure, Wi-Fi, is so bad that they still have video rental stores that people frequent often. It's a very low-income area. So even if they could get certain better Wi-Fi, could they afford it? So I think that Google can talk about their infrastructure all they want, or people can talk about Google's infrastructure rather all they want to. But it's the idea that Google can potentially stream you something amazing. Like, apparently coming to the service is, by the way, I want to note how old I sounded when I said stream you something amazing. How old am I? I'm fucking 26. Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Doom Eternal are both confirmed for the service. So, do I believe that Assassin's Creed Odyssey could look amazing? Definitely. I actually do believe that it could, and it's not going to be a choppy mess on Google's end of it. But what's going to happen on my end of it on a rainy day, which does happen on a rainy day where Wi-Fi cuts in and out? What's going to happen? Like, am I going to have to put a landline into my TV? If so, okay. But what happens when there's problems with that landline that's, going around my house because the rain is hitting down hard and it's wearing it down and then it breaks? Now I don't have internet, but I'm paying for this service. So that's the thing. That's the reason why, you guys know me. If you're longtime fans, you know how I feel about physical media. There's a reason why I love all this physical media. Yes, I know that disk rot happens. I know that there's going to be bit rot. I get it. But I think that's a lot better. There's a lot better of a chance, even though yes, it's going to happen, of me still being able to play the game or the piece of media in some form, rather than in this case where I'm paying for a service and there are some days that I could be sitting around going, all right, so I can't play the service, can't play the games on the service. All right, oh well, I'm just paying X amount a month. Okay, who cares? Just me paying money for this. Can't access it today. Okay. Like, that's not something that I'm interested in, because again, even on Google's side, if they have everything secure and set up, then it's a me issue. It's a my Wi-Fi issue. It's how things are in my area. And by the way, I'm in New York. I'm in Queens, New York, and I have issues like that. So when people think like, oh yeah, New York, you're gonna be good, you're gonna be fast, whatever, you're gonna be fine. No, even in parts of New York, especially upstate New York, it's gonna be. This is something that I think Google is trying to be ahead of the curve, but I think they're very ahead. So I don't think this is going to flop on its face, but I do think it's going to take some time. It's going to be a little bit of a lost leader, in my opinion, because people are going to try it, but then they're going to realize, oh no, this is not working for me. And then they're going to drop off. And maybe within the next 5 to 10 years, that is when it's going to start to kind of find its groove and start to do a little bit better. I'm not saying that people aren't going to enjoy this, that some people aren't going to be able to get a lot of not only enjoyment out of it, but just playtime out of it, and not lag free, but just not as bad as I'm saying and as I'm making it out to be. I'm just saying that when people think like, oh yeah, you're in New York, so your infrastructure amazing, you definitely have Wi-Fi all the time. There's no ever a dead time for you. It's like, no, usually depending on the time of day, or depending on the week rather, if it's 3 a.m, sometime, by the way, which is when I'm doing my best work, which would also, for many of us gamers, might be when we're doing some of our best gaming. Maybe not our best, but our specific gaming schedules might line up to 3 a.m. So if you're playing and then your company decides, no, we're doing some type of update, or we gotta work on this or work on that, so yeah, sorry, you're not going to have internet at this time. It's going to be much slower at 3 a.m. Well, I want to play my video games. And I'm paying money for this. So this isn't a free service, and that you pay for the game separately. So I understand you have, Harrison talking about his vision, but I got to say, it's also, as the consumer, it's my vision to be able to play a game at any time if I'm paying for a service to play the game. And look, Netflix doesn't have those issues usually. Usually I'm just fine with Netflix. Usually I'm just fine with YouTube on my phone or something like that. But I just feel as if this is something that's going to be out of Google's control. And they think that it's not going to be, because they're like, no, but we have a lot of money to put into this. And you do. But there's so many other factors that are into this that I'm just not completely sold on Google Stadia as of yet. I do think there's promise, don't get me wrong, I really do, but I'm not sold. I think that there could be some great games that could come out for it. I'm not trying to hate on this thing. I'm not trying to say it should go the way of the dodo immediately. It's not even out yet, so we definitely still have to wait to see what's coming. But I think there are too many concerns that are not being addressed as of yet. Because Google is talking about everything on their end, which I get it. Like, of course they're going to. They're not going to say, oh, yeah, we never thought about this. Of course, they've thought about this from every angle they can. But there are so many variables that don't involve them directly that I think this is something that... It's not. I know this isn't coming out tomorrow, but they are announcing Odyssey and Eternal, so this can't be coming out 5 years from now. So... I assume within the next 2 years we'll see this come out, and I don't know if it's really going to hit its stride until 3 years after that. And I know that's a crazy prediction. Probably, I will admit, might be wrong on that. But I don't know if we're there just yet to have everyone sign up for this the same way that they sign up for something like Netflix, or that they watch stuff for free on YouTube. Because even if someone says no, but you can probably get it, in a lower quality or something like that, I feel like that could work on your computer. But when you have a giant screen in your living room, I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna make it window sized? And I know that might seem silly. I know, I'm sure some people out there are a bit more technically savvy can maybe talk to me about this. But from what I do know, and from what I've seen, just from friends of mine and things like that, I feel like, this might be better than Sony's streaming service, because again, Google has that infrastructure. But is everyone going to, not all the time, but a majority of the time, have good enough internet to be able to play this? What if you're in a household where you have good enough internet, but you have multiple family members on multiple devices? So you're on your Google Stadia. You're playing games through Stadia, and then someone in your house is doing something through Netflix. Someone else is doing something through Amazon Prime Video. That's going to eat up a lot of, and then Junior is over there on YouTube. I just feel like there's a lot of issues that Google cannot address, and maybe it'll come back to bite them. I don't know. So tell me what you guys think down below about all of this. Are you interested? Are you not interested? Are you a little bit worried about physical media? Or are you not as worried about physical media? I don't think this is going to threaten physical media necessarily, but tell me what you guys think about all of this stuff, either in the chat on Twitch or on the YouTube comment section down below.